We are back from our break. We're going into our round 3, and we have Random7945 against Phoenix, not to be confused with Frosted Phoenix. We have an FJS Revenge deck against a Mandrakes deck. Now, FJS Revenge is not a deck that I had actually given much thought to before Random showed me this deck, and then I kind of went off the deep end with my own variants. But the idea of this deck is that you play cards like Zito Cabal Housecat, you play Piercing Grief, you play Display of, you play Stonepowder Alchemist, and those all have Revenge. When they go to the top of your deck, they get to replay for free off of Destiny. Then they go to your discard pile eventually. Then with Display of Ambition, you get to draw them back into play, and then the Destiny will trigger to have you draw more cards. You can speed up the Revenge drawing via Draconic Looting to try to get them off the top of your deck. And then this deck is also playing more of a control shell with Full Tilt as a Wrath. You get Through the Unknown to kind of ping their face and get back your Revenge units at instant speed so you can play them as blockers. And then the kill is generally with Detonation Cannon combined with Stonepowder Alchemist, I would assume.
Oh my gosh, I like everything about this deck. Absolutely everything. And it's got Smuggler Stash in the market. Oh,
Smuggler
so good.
Stash coming off of being buffed. It was nerfed at some point to cost 6, and now it is back to 5, which is nice. We can grab it with we can use it to grab Detonation Cannon and then 2 units, which is always sweet. You can grab Argenport Blueprints with. You can use Argenport Blueprints to grab Stonepowder Alchemist or to grab a Piercing Grief, and then, like before, when we mentioned with Spifferific deck, you can immortalize it after that to then give the new Revenge units, what is it? Endurance, Aegis, and whatever other effects, like generally Lifesteal or Charge in the case of Piercing Grief. And you can give that to your other, like Stonepowder Alchemist or your Zito or what have you, for some more damage.
So you did mention Full Tilt as a Wrath, which is something that we don't see very often in Peasant tournaments right now, right? Most of the Wraths are at rare, and so you have to do a little bit of work, like we mentioned in the ad break, the Torrential Downpour that you could do with Touch of Battle. Full Tilt essentially, so it hits 5 power, that's about mark, but each unit deals damage to itself equal to its strength, which for all intents and purposes, from what we've seen from the field so far, that is going to be a Wrath. I haven't really seen too many creatures minus the 2 Valkyries, right? The 1/3 and the 1/4 that probably wouldn't kill themselves.
Right.
But everything else would.
So deadly units will kill themselves because they're dealing deadly to themselves. The downside is it doesn't kill regen units, so it wouldn't have helped against Spifferific's board with a bunch of Tinker Unionists. But I think we're ready to go into the game.
Sweet, this is gonna be exciting. Oh man, I really hope we get to watch them do the thing.
I would hope so too, but don't get your heart up like too much, because Phoenix is playing a Mandrakes deck with 3 Eavesdrop main. I think this might actually be this might be the same deck that I ran for the Team Unified, which is why it had 3 Eavesdrop, because, or I didn't run this one, but my team did. And the reason to have 3 Eavesdrop is to have the other person for Team Unified having the 1 extra copy.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. So looking at a pretty easy mulligan here for a Random. I mean, 1 power. They have some stuff to do. Not actually, no, they don't, because it's not even the right color or right influence. So gonna see a pretty easy mulligan here. But to me, it feels like this deck actually mulligans quite well, even if you do have to go down a card, just because, like you said, it has the ability with like Draconic and Looting to kind of filter through a little bit and cull the deck. So this looks a little bit better. I mean, everything's gonna come into play depleted, but there's removal, there's interaction. So, and we know the Phoenix deck, the Mandrakes kind of wants to pitch the first couple turns, pitching stuff to their void and whatnot. So this may be something that they can hold on to.
Yeah, so this is not the worst hand. I can kind of expect to not really have undepleted power early in these kind of decks because the power requirements are all over the place. However, this is a decent hand. Drawing the 1 Piercing Grief was fine. Like, that's what we want. on random side, we kept a hand that did not have access to any revenge units, but we do have removal spells, we do have waste to sack cards, and we do have draw spell.
So we do see that Random knows about the let me find him real quick, the big
the
guys.
Shoal Dredger.
Yeah,
That's
Soul Dredgers. So and they fired off that, you know, victimless crime here. Are you kind of firing off that removal just to keep your life total up, or is there some incentive to hold on to it for when those the larger mandrakes start coming down, right?
So you generally want a victimless crime on the Vine Grafter mainly just to stop them from going to the market.
Okay.
The market can hold for them another way to reanimate their board with, see, Airmont's Machinations. They have 2 Mandrakes in the market. They have Curtain Call and they have Disrupt. So getting rid of the Vine Grafter early not only stops them from going to the market, but it also stops them from blocking your Piercing Grief, which would then get like blocked by Regen and die without gaining any life.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're seeing right now that they hit that critical mass. They don't get to play one this turn, but Shoal Dredger is going to come down next turn. They do have the Display of Annihilation that they can use as a removal spell, but as you mentioned earlier, it's more potent being the draw 2, maybe even draw 4 with 2 revenge units in the graveyard. We're seeing a Defile come
Ooh,
down
that's
for
rough for
Phoenix.
this
Yep.
deck because they steal the Revenge and the Piercing Grief goes to their deck. So one thing that I joked about when we used to like play Mandrakes all the time was that Mandrakes kind of shows your opponent what you're drawing with so many Fate cards between the Shoal Dredger, the Shoal Stirrings, and the Invasive Creeper. The opponents just kind of know what Mandrakes you have in your hand at any given point. Oh goodness, there we are.
There's the piercing grief, going to draw them a card. Ends up being another Mandrake. They immediately fire off that Nightshade. And do you chump block here? It looks like they are going to. I mean, that's what's in the deck for. So Random, going to get the chump block off of Zito. That is going to trigger the ultimate, though, with the life gain. That was a good series of events there for Phoenix. Drawing
Absolutely.
the Defile. They're going to Alchemist, leaving up the Defile here. I could see that. Defile is going to be able to get rid of the... which Mandrake is that? The Venomous Nightshade.
Yep. So...
And then...
I think we're okay as long as Phoenix doesn't have the Invasive Creeper in play, because the Invasive Creeper is what gives them all lifesteal. So as long as they're just deadly units, it's probably okay. But once Phoenix starts gaining a bunch of life, it may be impossible for Random to win the game off of these, what's it called, Destruction Cannon?
Oh my gosh, I need you to start commentating on my games. Good call there. So we see the Evasive Creeper come up off the top. They have the ability to play one of the 3 Mandrakes in their hand. Let's see what they end up going with here. Are you just adding the Shoal Dredger to the board to just add as much power as possible?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably worth it to just get as much in play as you can. Without being able to play 2 of the units, I think just getting the biggest unit in play is the best. However, there's an argument for keeping the Shoal Dredger in your hand because there's a chance where it loses cost enough to where you can double spell later.
But yeah, essentially double spell in a turn, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So Evasive Creeper going to the Void, keeping the Goliath Flytrap here. 2 chump blockers on the board for Random, so they don't necessarily have to fire off this Display of Ambition yet. They have the ability to do 2 things next turn, so they're probably looking to just get both the Revenge triggers here, is what it's looking like, which is exactly what the deck wants to do.
Well, so the Zito goes to the discard pile, right? Because the Zito already revenged.
Yep.
So the Display of Ambition is now live because it should have 2 units in the Void with Destiny, which will be able to give us 2 blockers for the 7/6 and 8/6 at instant speed, and then also draw you 2 cards.
All right, so we see a removal spell here.
If we can get Phoenix to not play the Shoal Dredger, we can Display of Ambition at instant speed to, I guess, make them discard the Shoal Dredger with the Zito, which should be something that Phoenix is thinking about. It's one reason to play the Shoulder Rider first.
So a lot of decisions here for, well, I mean, they can attack, and then like going back to what you mentioned, Shoulder Dredger gets a little bit cheaper, so they're able to fire off the Ultimate Life Speaker and play the Shoulder Dredger. That seedling is still 2 turns away, and we're seeing exactly what you talked about here, where instant speed, get 2 creatures back, they instantly block, they draw you 2 cards, they get the Shoulder Dredger out of the hand, so a nice, ooh.
Nice, and there's no regen on the board, so this full tilt is actually a Wrath. This is going exactly how Random wants from here. Let's see.
Is it going to kill the Goliath, though?
No, I guess not.
Okay, but I mean, still, the Goliath already ultimate, so it's kind of done its due diligence, essentially. But yeah, it's going to kill everything else because of the deadly on the seedling, and, well, I guess, yeah, make it ultimate the Life Speaker, but nice. So, unfortunate timing on the Alchemist, but not really. They still get the... Okay.
Well, so we were still paying off the debt from the Zito, so we couldn't have played full tilt this turn anyway.
Okay, got you. All right, and then once again, going back to what you mentioned, that detonation cannon is just kind of sitting there in the hand, waiting to pull the trigger on it, pun intended.
Yep.
You know, once the timing is right, as more and more power gets played off the top. I mean, this is a lot of damage coming through, but we're seeing all the lifelink and chunk blocking from Random really paying off, like we saw in round 1 with Theo's deck, essentially really stemming the bleeding here.
So this is another interesting thing of, like, we can play through the unknown to get the Zito on the card that they draw next turn. No, but Phoenix learned their lesson. They're going to play before combat. That's fine. So now the question is, like, do we want to throw the unknown? And I think this is going to be for an Alchemist, yeah. Ooh, very nice.
Okay, so we don't get to kill the...
Funny note, if that was a Piercing Grief, we would have been able to trade.
Yeah.
So
close.
With 2 Alchemists on top, like, was the choice just to do Piercing Grief to try to trade, or was it to have the 2-1 in play forever?
Wait, is Detonation Cannon lethal?
We're going for a kill. This is lethal.
Yes, wow, that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, 4, yep. That's exactly lethal. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic gameplay. That was exciting. Oh man, that's the kind of stuff that makes Eternal fun. Oh, that was so good.
So like those are 2 very grindy decks. Like the Mandrakes deck kind of did what it wanted to, but I think the big pivotal turn was not getting that 7/6 in play before the Zito made him discard, and that might have been able to. I guess they didn't know about the full tilt, but like it was a way to present more threat on the board.
Yeah. Well, of note too, going back to that exact moment, right? Just before that, when the Zito came down, right? They chose to discard the evasion. Was it Invasion Creeper, Evasive Creeper, right? Yep. Which you mentioned was a key card in the matchup because it allows them to gain a ton of life, especially with those 7/6s in play. So there were 2 decisions there where the discard from Zito was kind of very impactful. We didn't see it right there at the moment, but later in the game, it made a big difference.
And it also is relevant that giving all of your Mandrakes lifesteal means that when Random goes to play full tilt, you are gaining like 30 plus life.
Yeah.
Because they're all dealing damage to themselves.
Yep. Like, this deck, like you said, it doesn't have any heavy hitters, right? Everything is low to the ground. Everything's really capitalizing on that revenge aspect. So you're really kind of capitalizing on nickel and diming your opponent down. And when they gain, like you said, 20 or 30 life, that's going to be a heck of a sludge fest to get through it. Are we ready for game 2? I don't want to cut you off.
We are not ready.
Okay,
but,
cool.
One of the things that I was testing, I went deep on these revenge decks. Like I was playing Touch of Resilience to give my Kindling Carvers, or in one case, Taking Grenadin, which is the Grenadin that when you sacrifice it, you deal 3 damage.
Yeah.
So those were getting revenge from Touch, and then in my hand, the Touch was giving Display of Ambition or Draconic Looting Revenge, which was just like going real deep in the sauce.
Wait, hold on, question, because now that you're mentioning Carver, you're mentioning the Ticking Grenadin, the card that you draw 2, discard 2, draw 2, and whatever you draw gets double damage. Is that an uncommon or rare?
That is a campaign card. So that card is going to be a campaigns.
Got you. Okay. Oh man, that was gonna be so sick. Oh my gosh.
We have our next game ready. Let's head over there.
Oh, that's just so much fun. Man, this format's fantastic. Okay, so we're looking at 4 power, all the colors, all the
Yep.
influence.
We've got
Piercing
one
Grief.
revenge unit.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, these both look keepable to me. We're
Yep.
seeing Xenan colors on the other side with 1 drop, 2 drop, and then a couple of options here of no eavesdrop. Do you try to hold onto this eavesdrop knowing that random is playing a Graveyard Void synergy deck?
Absolutely.
Or, okay, yeah.
Absolutely. You want as many eavesdrops as you can. I think this hand is also just good. You've got 3 power and 4 units on the side of Phoenix, or 4 spells, and getting the what's that card called? The Life Speaker that we were talking about earlier. Getting that in play on turn 1 without a way for random to remove it will make it so that all of the units that you draw are life linkers and will make it harder and harder for random to win the game.
Yeah, this is oh man. I'm just so excited. So many lines already. It's just an opening hands.
Yeah,
I
I think they
mean,
were just waiting on a go ahead to start the game.
yeah. Oh, this is so good. All right. Well, there we go. There's the 4th power. So
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure that eavesdrop is gonna go ahead and be used as a spell. Like you mentioned, life speaker coming down on turn 1. Turn 2, are you trying to get in anything? Looks like they
Absolutely.
are. Piercing
You
Grief
wanna
going
send
in.
to that piercing group as soon as possible. The sooner that you can get your revenge units in and then out, the sooner that you can play Display of Ambition to play 2 cards and draw 2 cards.
Yep. So are you gonna call the deck next turn? I mean, obviously we gotta wait to see what they
No.
play, but
Uh, maybe.
oh, never mind. You don't have to.
I don't think you would call the deck for a grief is the thing.
I gotcha.
I think I would hold on to the call the deck to try to grab a display. I
Hmm.
think it's the card you want to get most, but Vinegrafter is also a solid choice.
Yep. And then Phoenix deciding not to burn the regen on the grafter there on the grief, knowing that it's already going to go to the graveyard.
Yep.
And so Vine Grafter coming down, they're probably going to play power,
Ooh,
and they know next turn they are going
this
to
is a
have
throw
the.
the unknown to get rid of that 1/1.
Yep. It's pretty crucial, like you said, giving everything off the top of the deck lifelink is, or lifesteal is very important, both on the aggressive and defensive side. Full tilt, not very potent here. Like you mentioned, it will burn the regen shields, but that's it. And nothing else going on, so probably going to sandbag that. Of note, though, Random is running a full playset, so don't be surprised if we see more than one come down.
Yep.
So
It may
next
be
turn,
worth it to run that full tilt as soon as possible. Like, I think I might wait until you get like 1 activation of the Vine Grafter, and then you see that like the 3rd unit come down with regen
mhm.
to like burn through 3 regen shields, and then hope to draw another full tilt later. I don't know
Now,
what you want to draw here though.
yep. You did mention earlier that the Mandrake deck does run a lot of Fate. So the fact that Random has not seen any Grafters or anything like that, Shoal Dredgers or anything like that, they know what they're working with, so they don't have to essentially kind of sandbag the tilt if they don't want to. They're going to go ahead and activate Grafter.
Yep.
What are you cashing in here? Power or the full tilt?
Uh, it could be just the power. Is this a scenario where like we grab an eavesdrop to counter the eavesdrop?
I could very much see that. Very much so. They have no idea that Easter. I mean, it is open deck list.
Okay.
Ooh, and that's an instant speed. So that may no. Well, they do have extra cards at hand. They could pitch. They could pitch the full tilt and the fire sigil to the eavesdrop, and get back the grief. All
Oof,
right,
that's rough.
defile. Yeah, that is rough, but now we're seeing eavesdrop get a little bit better. Not much, or not eavesdrop. I'm sorry. Full tilt.
Full tilt, yeah.
Power for random. They're gonna go ahead and go looting here. They
Hmm.
are gonna have to pitch some cards, so that eavesdrop is getting better and better. Devour with no creatures in play.
Yeah, this was just trying to get some revenge units to play. Like a nice Stone Powder Alchemist would be nice here. Not having a second revenge unit is kind of rough. Only playing the 9 or the 12 total, right? Because you're only playing the Zito, the Piercing Grief, and the Stone Powder Alchemist. It's really
Mhm.
just hoping that you get at least 2 or 3 of them to get your engine going.
Scavenger comes down. We're gonna see 4. Interesting they didn't attack with the grafter. But they're gonna fire off the grief, kind of reading the writing on the wall here, and then they're gonna get block, gain some life, break a region shield. So full tilt looking a little bit better. Still not great, but a little bit better. Like you said, it gets to kill two things. Did they activate the time grafter yet? No, right?
No, they haven't activated any grafters yet.
They did activate one
Oh,
because
they
that's how
did.
the
Oh,
scavenger
because
got
yeah,
it.
the scavenger got into play. Yep.
Yep, yep.
And if you remember, this
So,
is actually the card I was talking to you about when we did our set review about the Mandrake that's relevant to flying because you get to make a huge Mandrake over time.
yep. Being very conservative with that full tilt. I guess they're really waiting for. All right. Well, I mean, they get rewarded, right? Because this is going to deal with the seedling now. So let's see. They get rid of the seedling. They get rid of a
Notably,
grafter.
notably giving all of the units deadly as well. So full tilt's
Yeah.
going to make it a board wipe. But random
Well,
sees
no,
it.
because of the regen, right? The
Yeah.
regen shield. Either way,
I
random's
was
seen
thinking there was
enough.
more time than there was.
Yeah, gotcha.
And
All right,
that
so we
is
definitely saw the other side of it, right? Where when the engine doesn't get going, then the deck kind of spins its wheels but doesn't commit to the board enough there.
right. Piercing Greave is not the card that you want as your only unit you ever draw. It doesn't draw you much protection other than gaining a little bit of life here and there because it doesn't stay on the board.
Yeah, I mean, great job with the what's the fast speed one? I just saw it. The Through the Unknown, right?
Yeah,
Being
that
able
card
to
is sweet.
actually get a block out of it
Yep.
and gain some life is quite relevant, but there, unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Going into game 3, we're going to see Phoenix on the play this time with the one drop. So this is going to be a significantly more aggressive start from Phoenix there. Play a power, play a Darkwater Vine, send it over to Random. Random is going to draw a Tome, which is going to be undepleted past turn 3. Zito comes down. They're, of course, going to go ahead and
trigger the Vines, which is going to help both players out because both players want things in their discard pile.
Yep. Pitching the Flytrap Goliath, we're going to see, ooh, all right. Getting a Grafter out of the way. Unfortunately, just power.
Yeah, nothing exciting for either player.
Yeah, not at all here. So 2 power, potentially 3, right? They are able to kill Zito if they want to. Play the time, activate the favor to kill Zito. The Vine, the Mandrake can get him for 2.
It's worth noting that the Vara's favor is currently Phoenix's only way to trigger this Venomous Nightshade because the Nightshade triggers off of gaining a life to ultimate. And without the Life Speaker in play and drawing a unit, there's no other way to gain life yet. So they may be trying to save the Vara's favor for a time when they can play both in the same turn. However, at this point, you just kind of want to have your power.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you hit your curve, right? And I mean, it still shows the diversity of the card. You can use it to break region shields, you can gain some life, gets you a power, and they're going to use it there to gain power. They immediately get a... All right, so they have the choice here of ultimating the Life Speaker or playing the Mandrake. Which one do you think they're going for here?
I think you generally want to play the Mandrake first because then you can ultimate either your Life Speaker or the market access to trigger and give both of your other Mandrakes deadly. So just saving that until next turn is good.
All right, Random hits their 4th power, and they kind of have access to quite a few things here, right? They're going to go with Cannon, take out the Grafter, and then leave up probably Victimless Crime. Nope, they're not going to leave it up. They're just going to go ahead and do it.
Yep. Because you don't want them to play a power that triggers gaining life or something. I don't think that Phoenix is playing other paintings, and it's also worth noting, like we saw earlier that Almost was playing a Xenan deck that was playing all the paintings that were from Xenan, just to have all of the power drops trigger life gain. Xenan actually doesn't have any paintings on its own. So the 2 decks that want life gain the most, aka Xenan Life Force and Mandrakes, actually don't have a way to trigger it from their power other than playing Waystone.
Got you. Interesting. So we're seeing here, finally, Alchemist coming down. That's going to stem some of this bleeding, which is pretty important because Random was down to 10 already. Despite not having the most aggressive start from Phoenix, it was still able, without that life game, right? You saw the amount of damage. So they have a blocker now. we have a choice. We could play the Shoal Dredger, we could play power and fire off the stirrings, or we can ultimate the life force. What's the sequence that Phoenix is looking for?
So if you're going to ultimate the life speaker, you're going to do it before combat, which would narrow in their choices a lot. I think this will let you play a Shoal Stirrings for your 2 Mandrakes that have died so far, but I think you want to play your uh, big card first. You want to play your Shoal Dredger as soon as possible, because when you play that Shoal Stirrings, it's going to reanimate 2 cards out of your void and mean that Shoal Dredger is going to cost more. This play also, because Shoal Dredger has lifesteal from the Life Speaker, means that when the Shoal Stirrings is played, bringing back the Venomous Nightshade, the Shoal Dredger is going to trigger the Nightshade's ultimate to give you a little seed and give all of your units +1/0 and deadly.
So very strong gameplay here from Phoenix, continuously leaving a power in their hands, so they have the discard for Zito. And we're going to see no contract or deck go in from random for the Zito here. But instead, they're just going to trigger the Devour because they have to play it. Now they're going to discard.
Yep.
So unfortunately, they would have been able to snag both if they paid the contract on both. But obviously, that would have also taken the power. No, I think they still would have been able to do both, correct? They would have gone into over debt, but I mean, or debt, more debt, but I don't think it would have, right? They would have played it, paid 2. They're in 2 debt now, so that means they had, no, I think they had.
So once you get into debt, you can't play, I guess, if you're playing it off the top via like Revenge, you can debt again, I think. But that would involve you drawing more cards. So
no, yeah, because if they're at 2 debt right now, then they win. But yeah,
right.
They wouldn't have been able to play the second one. Okay.
Right. So
yeah, they would have had to be at 1 debt to be able to do both.
We no longer have the power to play the Shoal Stirrings, and we still only have 1 unit in the discard pile that is a Mandrake to target anyway. So just making the Xenan Life Speaker bigger in order to present more of a threat is nice. We don't want to trade the 2/1 with the 2/1 Lifesteal. That's just going to come back anyway. What are we looking for with Cold Deck here? Are we looking for the Zito back?
I guess so, which is interesting because they have the Defile that could deal with either of these cards right now. They chose not to. I don't know. I'm not. So I mean, I don't know what kind of Destiny draws they were looking for that would. I'm interested. I'm interested to see Random's thought process here because they do have a block, right? They're good. Yeah. Worst case scenario, they take. I mean, I guess worst case scenario, they take a ton of damage if Phoenix gets a removal spell. They didn't, so this Alchemist is going to do some blocking duty on the 7/6, but that means 6 is still going to get through. They're going to gain 2, so it's only 4. They go down to 10.
Yep. So I think it's more of a question of what do you play if you're Phoenix here? Do you play the power and then do you want to attack with your vines now, even though it'll put the lifesteal unit back on top of their deck, just so that you can get it back with Shoal Stirrings having 2 targets now? Yeah. Does it have 2 targets or is it just 1? I guess the reason, maybe it's just there's a Vine Grafter as well. Okay. So the reason you want to do this here is before combat, you have this lifesteal unit that's going to hit and then trigger to anthem your board. I was under the operation that the only card in the discard pile was that 3/2.
Yeah, Random really trying to weigh the pros and cons here to certain blocks. I just don't think a 14-point life swing is what you want to be.
The Vine Grafter is not his or theirs. The Vine Grafter is from Devile. That's okay. What my math wasn't working out because I'm just like, but Phoenix hasn't played a Vine Grafter this game. No, it was from Defile.
It might have to be full tilt or bust here. Unfortunately, this is getting pretty out of hand. Yeah. Defile coming down, going to take the Grafter. I can respect that.
So we are currently
has a
blocking
block.
The 8/6.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah.
They've got a board now. They've got a board, and there's no evasion here on the other side. They've got some time for that seedling that has the overwhelm, but they have time. They are going to be able. They have 8 power, so Random can looting and hope to draw a tilt that will now clear out the
whole board and anything that they play except for the vines in the hand. I guess we. Oh goodness, so we can no longer gain life from the shoulder because it's going to get blocked by the vine or the vine grafter.
Yep.
Do
So
we
let me see what's in the market real quick. Immortalize, Slay, Eavesdrop, Minotaur, and Smugglers. Oh wait, am I on the right deck?
are you looking for the revenge
Yeah,
one?
no, I'm in
Yeah.
randoms. Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure. Yeah, man, I guess it would just probably be Eavesdrop, I guess, just to refuel your graveyard. I don't think Slay or Immortalize are gonna do anything here. I mean, their
The
go-to has been Immortalize, but I don't think it does enough here.
the immortalized could like get back an alchemist with exalted and put it on the vine grafter with regen maybe, but it's not going to
Well,
be
I mean, at this
enough.
point, you'd probably
Yeah.
get the buffed Vine Grafter, right?
Yeah.
Because then that way you have access to your mark. Yeah, get immortalized to get back a Vine Grafter so you can access the market again, then maybe get Smuggler Stash. Okay.
And it's also like the immortalized makes a weapon for smuggler stash to grab.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that probably is the line. I could see that. So we're seeing the obvious block there. Let's see if they're going to try to kill something. They are. I could see that. Okay. Okay.
So we're taking 4 going to 10 again, putting the alchemist back on top. And I guess this is
Looting fur. Okay.
no, because if we're looting first, we can't graft with and play whatever we graft for. So we're grabbing the immortalized here and starting off the line.
Okay, yep. And you can't, unfortunately, fire off this contract, which telegraphs them immortalize, but there's nothing really you can do.
Yep.
Victimless crime off the top for Phoenix. That's a really good draw. Gonna get a blocker out of the way with the regen.
Yep. That's honestly a solid thing to do. I think we go for the grafter that has the regen shield.
Yeah,
And
because it's
then that,
also the
so
one
like
that hasn't been activated yet.
so then we like block with regen with the Zito on the 8/6. Oh, it doesn't matter
So,
anymore because they have 3 regen unit or 3 lifesteal units.
so do you get back do you get back the grafter? Right? They could block,
Yep.
get a regen shield, and let you go back to the market, or do you get one of your destiny units?
As much as I would like to go like deep in the sauce with this vine grafter, go back to the market, I don't think we have the time. I think this is a point where we just have to immortalize for a Stern Power Alchemist.
Yeah, they are going to get rid of.
Because
Let's
once this
see.
combat resolves, their entire board is going to Anthem again.
Uh, Yeah, now you guys are seeing the power of Mandrakes. Absolutely fantastic.
It's going to Anthem 3 times actually, because it's also triggering the ultimate off of the Vine Creeper or the Invasive Creeper. Oh wait, no, both of the other ones are dead. So thanks to the Immortalized, that's not happening. All right,
Okay,
so this
not
isn't the
too
worst.
Ugh. All right,
Well, do we
let's
have the full
see.
tilt?
Okay, okay.
And nothing.
Oh
All
man,
right,
that was an
so
atrocious draw.
we can kill the 9/6, right? And
Yep.
then we can
So they
block the
have to not
4/4 and take 6, go to 3. Or no, go to
don't draw
10. Or go to 7 because of the lifesteal from the Zito.
don't draw removal. That's pretty crucial here.
Hmm. Wait,
And
Panda's playing a Shugo tactic? What? What's happening? Why is there a Shugo tactic in this deck? I didn't even notice that.
yeah, it's the Shugo standard.
Yeah, so what is the line here? Are we getting that to I guess does no, Immortalize doesn't do what I wanted to do in there. Does Exalted like check for everything the current stat has? Like if I Shugo
I
tactics.
don't think so. I don't remember, but I don't think so.
Hmm,
Stone powder. I mean, maybe just to buff the life steal, right? To give you to trade up and get some life.
maybe.
All
But
right,
that's it.
and
That's the game.
yeah.
That is
Fortunately,
the match.
unfortunately, a little bit of a flood there from random at the end. They need to draw a little more gas to be back in this, and Phoenix takes it down 2-1. Good job,
Yep.
Phoenix, man. Both players navigated the game very well. I think that, like we saw just our discussion, the lines there were extremely difficult. A lot of different plays to do. The one drawback to the Destiny deck, right, is the fact that you are kind of playing off the top of your deck that's unknown, right?
Right.
You can draw into your destiny things and do awesome things, or you can try to draw into your destiny things and whiff. So it's a little bit of high risk, high reward, which we saw there, where in game one, when the destiny units are on the top, boom, you are rocking and rolling. But then when they're not, you kind of fizzle out a little bit. And the Mandrake deck is just very resilient, very resilient. A lot of recursion, a lot of threats, ultimates triggering on a regular basis. So it makes recursion even more potent. And we saw it there. Like it once that engine gets going, it is a very difficult to come back from.
Yeah. Once like there's a Mandrake's I guess point of no return, right, where you just start getting these super large Mandrakes that are every turn are going to ultimate over and over again and make themselves bigger and bigger. And then if you do deal with them, like Shoal Stirrings brings them back, Airmut's Machinations brings them back. It's very hard for a fair or even unfair deck to deal with them because of how much life you're gaining as well as how much damage you're presenting. The thing about
Yeah.
like the Revenge deck is there's so many different like ways to go about it, and that's what I've like found in the like the week and a half testing that I've done. I was really enjoying a version of Revenge that was playing with Tomb of the Azure Mage alongside your Stonepower Alchemist and Through the Unknowns because it's dealing damage to the opponent, you're looting away your cards, but you're also looting towards more Revenge cards. And then
You know,
eventually your kill con is to pay 8 with a Tomb and just kill them based on the spells in your void.
Looking at the list now, I definitely do think that at least in the last game, it was unfortunate drawing there for random because I'm looking and we never saw a display of ambition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're running a full playset of full tilt, and
Yep.
at full tilt at any point across, I think the last four of turns
Yep.
would have gone a long way towards stabilizing. It wouldn't have completely shifted the game, but it would have definitely bought random a lot of time, I think. And the fact that we didn't see either of those cards, so they're able to get back 2 units at instant speed or clear the board, I think is really what kind of tipped it. That being said, there's also, I don't really see a catch up mechanic in the market as well, which might be something to consider going forward, right?
Yeah.